Cannonier. As if having Cannonier as your last name and looking like this wasn't badass enough, he calls himself the Killa Gorilla, which is definitely a fitting name. Cannonier has been in the UFC since early 2015 but remained relatively unknown until his move to middleweight in late 2018. Before his shift to middleweight, Cannonier was 3-4 in his first 7 UFC fights, but since moving down, at the time of this video, he has strung together 3 knockout victories in under a year. He is also one of only a handful of fighters to hold victories in 3 different weight classes. On top of that, he is the first fighter in modern UFC history with knockouts in 3 different weight classes and the second to ever do it after Vitor Belfort and his heavyweight and light heavyweight wins in the late 90s. In this video, we will break down the stats and the science behind Cannonier. When talking about Cannonier, the first thing that comes to mind is his transformation as a fighter, moving down from heavyweight to middleweight. In 2009, Cannonier was living in Alaska, just out of the army, doing maintenance on traffic control equipment and weighed over 300 pounds. He started his career as a heavyweight with 6 stoppages, and that's when he entered the UFC. And he did okay. Fast forward 10 years from his time in Anchorage, and 100 pounds later, Cannonier has resuscitated his career as a terrifying middleweight contender. This move was no surprise decision either. Even as a heavyweight, he talked about eventually becoming a middleweight. Cannonier stands at 5'11" with a reach of 77 inches. The middleweight averages are 6'1" height and a 75-inch reach. The light heavyweight averages are 6'2" and a 76-inch reach. And the heavyweight averages are 6'3" and a 77-inch reach. Although Cannonier has a height disadvantage in every division he's fought in, he has a reach advantage in light heavy and middleweight and is on par with heavyweight. His reach is 6 inches longer than the average 71 inches for average men his height. Cannonier understands that he has 2 big advantages in the octagon, a long reach and undeniable power, and he fights like it. He likes to stay at range against his opponents and pick his shots carefully. Using his reach, he particularly favors his cross and long lead hook. Cannonier has spent a lot of time training with boxers and exhibits slick head movement and precise counters, which was showcased very well in his fights against Killa and Hermansson. His ability to be slick and stick and move with his punches is not exclusive to his run at middleweight. Even as a heavyweight and light heavyweight, he showed that he could utilize these skills as well as feints and nimble footwork even over a long 3 rounds. He switches between orthodox and southpaw comfortably, which helps keep him unpredictable. Against opponents who like to clinch or wrestle, the uppercut is another strong tool of his, which is what ended the fight against Hermansson. Using his head movement and reach, Cannonier will walk down his opponents for nearly the entire fight and put on the pressure. And when he does this, it can be pretty terrifying. Take a look at this clip from the end of his fight with Killa. Cannonier has a significant strikes landed per minute stat of 3.72, which is a little bit higher than the UFC average of 3.19. He has a striking accuracy of 51% and strikes absorbed per minute of 2.82, which are about average within the UFC. He does have a high striking defense at 66%, which is up there with some of the best numbers in the UFC. Moving on from striking, let's talk about Cannonier's grappling. If you're familiar with his fights, it shouldn't come as a surprise that he prefers a fight on the feet. Cannonier has only 1 takedown in the UFC and 3 total attempts for a takedown accuracy of 33%. He has a takedown defense of 51%, which isn't a big standout, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Cannonier has been taken down 17 times in his 10 UFC fights, but he is not easy to hold down and exhibits strong defense on the ground. He has gone on to win 3 of 5 fights in which he was taken down. Cannonier has never attempted a submission in his UFC career, so it's safe to say that he likes to stand and strike. The Killa Gorilla is a strong middleweight contender who at the time of this video is scheduled to fight Robert Whittaker for the #1 contender spot on UFC 254. We look forward to seeing more of him and his exciting and powerful fighting style. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos.